I'd like to call the meeting to order for the St. John Economic Development Committee, and please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm going to call roll call here. Emily
Present.
and Scott Bell.
Here.
Joe Berry.
Here?
Robert Godoy is not here yet, but I believe he's coming. Dave Dieshold.
Here.
Myself. I'm here. Kelly.
Here.
Joe.
Present.
Thank you. Jason Draven.
Present.
Thank you. And Mike Aurelio.
Here.
And Sergio.
Here.
Thank you very much. Thank you for attending tonight's meeting. I appreciate that very much, and welcome back, and hopefully we'll have a nice productive year this year. So we got a lot of things in the hopper. First on our agenda here is election of officers, so please make your motions.
Well, Dave Beishold, I would like to make a motion to have John DeYoung return as our president of the Economic Development Committee.
Second?
Second.
Any other motions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Can I vote?
Motion. Well, thank you again for that honor. All righty then.
Do we want to go beyond that?
Yeah, we do.
No, but I mean vice president. and-
Yep, we have to.
Okay.
Yeah. I need a motion for vice president.
I would like to nominate Emily Warren
Oh,
to be our vice president.
very good.
I'll second.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Emily, do you?
I accept.
Okay, very good.
Fantastic.
Thank you. All right. And I appreciate that very much. We have Anastasia doing our minutes, so
Right.
We're good there, so.
Do we need a motion to approve them?
That's the next thing on the agenda here. So we got to have a motion to approve the minutes that were from October 26th, 2022. And hopefully you all read through them. You got them sent to you.
I'll motion we accept them as read, as presented.
That's it.
Sorry.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. All right. We have some new business with Tesca Associates, and I believe, Sergio, are you going to give us an update on that, or?
Yeah, I can start off, and if Joe wants to fill in or tell me to shut up and take over, that's fine as well. So we executed a contract or proposal with Tesca Associates. They've been hired to perform a corridor study for US 231, 109th, Calumet, and 101st. As part of this, and why it kind of folds into economic development, is that through this study, they're going to create a vision for the future development of this corridor. When you have a vision and you actually publicize it and start sharing it with businesses, you start changing your economic base for the community, new businesses start being attracted to what's the potential for these corridors. And so that's really the intent, is to, like I said, diversify the town's economic base and bring in a diversity of businesses along these major corridors. And speaking with other organizations, MPO, NERC, Lake County, they also feel that these are viable corridors that need to be expanded in the future or be prepared to be expanded, as well as create a sense of place as you're traveling through the town of St. John. Part of this is in the county, and part of it is within the municipal boundaries of St. John. So what they're going to prepare for us is a design concept, streetscape plan, and then offer plenty of public engagement. Currently, we have set up a stakeholder interviews for multiple different industries within town, church, schools, government, local businesses, to kind of do some engaged residents as well, to give feedback, their thoughts initially. We are going to conduct these interviews all day on February 8th, and they'll report back to us what some of the initial thoughts are. And then we're going to open this up as well as to other commissions and boards, city council, or town council, I'm sorry. Talk to those individuals as well, and then have workshop meetings for the public as well, so.
I do have a question. Who would be responsible for the viaducts on 231
With the train,
with the trains?
So
Yeah,
typically-
To expand those.
to expand those, my experience has been is when working with the trains, if you approach them and say, we have this project in place and we're paying for it 100%, they say, go for it. Let us know what you need your help with. But if you ask them to contribute or make any changes, they tend to push back. However, hopefully with this plan in place, you can, the town can start looking at matching dollars. It's in the TIF revenue or the TIF district, or maybe, look
Is
into
it
that
county
option.
road there, though?
Yes.
So
So
would that
the
be
county, yes,
responsibility?
if you're looking for grants, you really don't want to make it as just one individual, or one municipality or government agency's responsibility. Looking for federal grants, they love when there's partnerships between multiple levels of government and public partnerships. So
Do we have a grant writer?
we do not have a grant writer. So, I think we use our summer services through Robinson.
So
Robinson,
let
I think,
me add
is
into
our-
that, we are currently looking to contract with the grant writer, the town is. So we are pursuing that as we speak, so just kind of, that's news for you guys.
Yes, it is.
So,
That's good
yeah, 'cause,
though.
yeah, we need
news.
somebody who's professional and
Yeah.
can focus on this.
Yeah, because if they want to do that expansion, I mean, we need that, so.
Yeah, so part of this corridor study would help with that, knowing that the volumes on traffic would increase along these corridors, so,
Wonderful, wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, one of the other elements of what what TESCA is going to be doing is kind of doing kind of our design standard, our brand. So we've got so many different logos and things out there, but we want a kind of a modern, fresh look for St. John, which obviously pays homage to our history and heritage and looks toward the future. So, and we want to have that branding not only along this corridor, but throughout the entire town. So that way, you're in St. John. It's not, am I in Cherville? Am I Dyer? I don't know. We're going to kind of differentiate that, so our signage will be different. And we'll have that incorporated into a lot of the corridor, as well as the entryways and stuff like that, so gateways and stuff, so.
The other thing too that I'd like to add, Joe, is that they are also going to do, as part of this proposal, they've allowed us to select 3 sites along these corridors to give kind of what a development would look like or would function there based on the road classification and functionality and the road design. What we've selected is south of 231, that large tract of land just south of 231, also near the intersection of Calumet and 109th, near Ileana School. There's some vacant properties there, and then also the intersection near 101st and Calumet as well. So they'll come back with some proposals of land use that would function there based on the road functionality and the road improvements. We'll also share that with the Plan Commission as development comes in. At least we have tools in our toolbox to say, hey, this is what the town's vision is. It's been adopted by the town council and supported by the Economic Development Commission, by Plan Commission, and so that's really the intent on those as well, so.
Very good.
Sergio, do we have anybody currently interested in any part of this as we speak?
Interested in,
Building or developing?
of course, yes.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I had heard something to that effect, and I was just
So
wondering.
my office really does not operate on hearsays. I mean, we hear from individual property owners that come in or residents who call and say, I heard a rumor. We like to operate on the findings that are actually presented to us once something is filed, and we help them through the process. Because, I've heard different stories on different properties, and none of them manifest, and there's no point in getting anyone excited if we really there's no need at this point in time. But, exciting things are about to happen, hopefully, and we'll definitely move forward with them, so.
Okay, very good. Business recognition program. Joe, are you talking about that tonight, or which is on the?
It was,
So I actually had that put on the agenda. I appreciate, Mr. President, and Joe putting that on there. I think, my hope is to showcase as we nurture and encourage more economic development in our town, to showcase our new businesses coming in. We would like them to thrive and people to know they're coming in town, and do some part of coupling with them, where maybe we as we get a new business, and there's been several, and we get a couple that are coming soon, they're gonna be opening up, where we can have them come into our committee, and we can present, some type of nicety to them, and also some support in either marketing or whatever, and see how we can be helpful to them, just to encourage and really to, not only encourage, but to produce
So we
more
could give
economic
them a
growth.
few minutes to speak about their business, and they could
Yeah,
let
and-
the residents
that's
know
right.
too, then, because it's
Right.
on tape. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I would love to do, maybe if it's not every meeting, every other meeting. I know depending on how thick or how full our agenda is, to have that
Sure.
as often as possible.
Very good.
and it would be nice to basically showcase, and maybe do a nomination for maybe like a Business of the Year, someone that's, contributing, that helps out, that goes above and beyond, and, having that recognition on an annual basis by the EDC.
I think that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
A Business of the Year, and hand out an award for that. I think that would be great to showcase that. We have so many great businesses in town.
Is the other program still in place? So we had the one recognition last year, I think, was Welch's, and is that still happening?
It was
I
a
think
monthly
we-
thing.
Something like that.
There is? Okay.
Kelly, what, fill me in here. What was that about?
There's was something called the Commitment to the Community Award
Right.
that started at the EDC. I don't know if I left it on the website or not. There were a few winners, but it has basically since been discontinued. There have been no further nominations. Nothing
Okay.
else has transpired because of it.
I think we probably should reinstitute that kind of a program, to what Mike was saying, and have, do a business. And it doesn't have to be a, what is it again?
Commitment to Community
Commitment to
Award.
community. I mean, I don't know if that's the right name for it, but I think, some kind of, business recognition out there would be a good thing from a governing body.
I like Business of the Year for that one. That
Well,
would be-
absolutely Business of the Year, but I think, we need to
Scott seems
put up,
like he wants it.
yeah, we need to put something together that addresses that.
I think in order for a program like this to really have legs, you need to establish some guidelines, some SOPs, a selection committee, parameters, and then I know in speaking with St. John Chamber of Commerce, they're interested in partnering up with EDC, maybe showcase their members as part of that, have really kind of, I think, creating some guidelines of a Business of the Year award program. You want to have guidelines, and then a selection committee. And then I've seen programs like this start very small and then get larger to where they have award banquets and fundraising, and the chamber gets involved, and it turns into a large a festivity of the end of the year, beginning of the year celebration.
Is the chamber doing that now?
I reached out to the chamber. They are not, but they are very interested in starting a program like that and working with EDC to help kind of foster this and grow it. So I talked to Cindy Suze out there, and so she's very interested. I reached out to a couple of local chambers who actually run the program and asked them to share their guidelines. And no point in reinventing the wheel if we can just kind of take what we like from there and what fits for St. John and move it forward. So
Did
That
you
would
get
be
those
great.
guidelines yet?
I've got emails out. I have not had a response yet, unfortunately.
John's going to ask for a motion to adopt, and we don't even have them. Come on,
Yeah,
So, yeah, and we, you know, we wouldn't be awarding that anyways till later in the year, so we
Right.
have some time.
Right.
to very thoughtfully go through what are the parameters for the winter.
Yeah.
No doubt about
Yeah,
it. Great
you
idea.
want to establish a selection committee, maybe a couple of members from the EDC, a couple of members from the chamber, you know, whatever however this thing manifests, and then criteria as to how are you selected. Do you contribute to the community? Do you employ so many St. John employees? You know, there's different variables that you can identify as to how you are selected. Even you can't be selected twice in a row or 2 years in a row. You have to kind of step back and let someone else, or even the person who gets nominated one year can then sit on the chair for the following year to select the next business. So there's different parameters or guidelines. In order for this to be viable, we really need to establish those first. And I think hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we get some feedback and we present something to the EDC and bring in maybe the chamber and we start kind of fleshing this out and getting a program in place.
Yeah, and you could even do like a quarterly business in focus or something like that, you know, it kind of showcases that individual business, you know. We just, so that the EDC knows, we do have a communications person now that's contracted with the town that is going to be starting to put out newsletters and information out to the community. So we're kind of excited about that. We met with her, what is today? Monday. So I met with her on Monday. We'll be sending out introductory emails to all of you, so that way you have her contact information. So if there's something that comes up, you can let her know what's going on. You know, feel free to reach out to her as well. But, you know, a lot of good things, I think, that are coming down the pike on that. So, but I think we definitely want to start, you know, working on focusing on, obviously, the business retention piece of it. And I think this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, just on a local level.
Yeah, I think in your packet, you have a list of all businesses that have been registered as of 2023. I was surprised because usually these applications cross my desk for review from a land use zoning standpoint. And when I had the spreadsheet printed out, I was like, wow, these are a lot that registered this year. I was surprised. So those are all the businesses that are registered in 2023. Have a business license. So if you have a business, you're not on there.
Even if we showcase one every other meeting, that's only 6 a year.
Right.
So, yeah.
Many businesses. So.
Yeah. It really depends on how robust this EDC wants to be with their awards. But possibly, I've seen them evolve over time as it starts getting stronger legs and it starts moving forward. So I think if we create a program and then start amending it over the next couple of years, and let's see where it goes and see how much interest we get. Essentially, that's what we want, is these businesses to say, yeah, I definitely am proud to be part of St. John and the activities and the opportunities that exist from both EDC and the chamber.
Sounds like a great idea.
Okay. Joe, do you need help with marketing materials for the Riverfront District? Or have you?
In terms of marketing materials,
So I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
So for the Riverfront District, much of the property within that district that's north of the Shrine will be out of the floodplain in May. So that property, which has been, you know, has been sitting dormant and not buildable for all these years, by God's grace, will be out of the floodplain and buildable, much of it, on, I think it's May 11th this year. So that's set to happen. So that really sets a table for nice economic development over in that region, over in that area.
Is that because of all that fill that they brought in? Is that
Yes,
what changed
yes.
it?
yeah, and then they spent a lot of money trying to get that remapped, shooting elevations. They spent a lot of money and time to make sure that, you know, they got that taken care of. And they did file a map amendment, and we did receive a map amendment on that. So, and you said it takes effect May 1st?
I think it's
So
May
longer?
11th.
Or May 11th?
It's somewhere in the middle of May. It's not quite the first, but it's not long after.
So that's great news, actually, yeah.
So
Would you like to have the members from this committee to give you some input on that, or that we can try to dial into what those needs are? I mean, that's something we can start working on almost now.
So I
along
would
with,
love that. I would love that. I think it's so important, like, the EDC to be a face for our town, because businesses, you know, we need to be the salesman kind of for our area, right? And we have such a great product here, and not that many people know about it. So, yeah, I would greatly appreciate that. You know, and I think we can talk about what type of businesses we're looking to attract to St. John. What are our residents looking for? What are we in need of? And then also, what are the businesses in need of, right? What is going to be their need? So, I would greatly appreciate that. I think that would really be a great thing to focus on.
So if this committee could start making some notes on that and move towards this goal, and then we'll share them at the next meeting. If, you know, we'll just keep tweaking it as time goes on here.
So my ask would be something to consider. A couple things is that I would like to advertise and promote that area there. You know, so, and what would that look like when, you know, if we have lots of traffic going by there? Is it possible, and this is a question for Sergio, to put some type of sign for people to know where this place is at, right, and what we're doing? Is there some way we can put a sign out there in this region? We could talk to the property owners and, you know, and advertise this, not only to, you know, on the internet, but people who drive by, people that buy stuff, they drive by, oh, there it is, right? So,
Yeah, so there is a couple of different opportunities aside from just a sign, a billboard on there. Really, when local or when businesses are looking to locate to a community, they typically will go to the economic development website page, and on there it will say sites available for development. And on there's highlighted portions of development that list the acreage, the zoning, if there is a proposed type of land use or a site plan that would match perfectly. Then these individuals say, hey, I fit most of those criteria. I think this is, you know, they start looking at the social economics aspects of these communities and say, does this meet my threshold for my business to be successful? So definitely creating something on the website that kind of highlights that and who the contact person is. Also working with regional EDOs, economic development organizations, identifying shovel-ready sites based on whatever type of land use we're looking for. And so partnering up with them at the regional level and say, hey, can you guys please partner up with us and identify these sites and put this on your website as well. So those really are some other tools to use to help stir economic development. So.
And the key to that is keeping that information live and fresh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we used to do that where I was from before, and you know, putting that information out there is really important because you're right. They do go look at that to see exactly what's available and what you have out there. You know, having those, you know, in brochure form are nice, but you know, those get stale real quick. So
today's age and technology,
yeah.
Someone's up at 2 in the morning because they can't sleep because they want to expand their business, and they say, I heard good things about St. John, so they're there at 2 in the morning looking to see what's available.
Yeah, and if you're gonna do a brochure, the best way to do it is with the QR code and have it just directly linked to that.
Yeah. The other thing too, aside from vacant properties that are able for development, you can also partner up with local shop owners, whether they're strip malls or live work centers, that they can identify vacancies or available space. So if someone wants to locate a bakery and they're looking for a vacant space rather than driving around town looking to see if there's any space available, these individual property owners say, can you list my tenant space available? This is the square footage. This is who the contact is. Again, someone's feeling one gets a bright idea to start a business and they want to go to St. John. Where do they go? Who do they contact? It's already there 2 in the morning on their website. So.
that's good. Sounds good.
Do you think it's important to be involved with what we had in October, be in the know from that marketing standpoint with that presentation? Did you like that, Joe? And
I mean, I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
I think it's a great concept in terms of, you know, getting us out there. This was, I don't know if you were here for that or not. Yeah. For the lady with the Times. Well, they're affiliated with the Times. They got their own little thing going. But yeah, I mean, if that's something that, you know, the EDC wants to do, I think, you know, we need to take a look at what's within the budget and then put that forth, because I know EDC does have some dollars earmarked for that.
We do. We do.
I don't know how much we have in there. I know it wasn't quite 10,000. And then we need to really talk about the facade program too, and how that's gonna, if we're gonna continue that moving forward, because obviously we don't have enough funding to do something like that on an ongoing basis, but,
Right, maybe John and Sergio, you guys can reach out to Beth for our budget, ask her what she expects our income to be, our budget to be this year. Would love to see that. It'd be nice to have that available.
You want us to talk to Beth then on that? Okay,
Please,
Yep.
please.
we'll do it. So,
yeah, because there's money set aside for the EDC in there, and that's through the innkeeper's tax. So, I mean, that's something that, that's viable for that. It's for promotions and programming, and that really kind of falls right into that whole.
Able to move forward with a grant writer, they can also search for grants that help make $1 out of 55 cents. So if your only operating budget is 10,000 and a program like this costs, let's just say 5,000, you don't have to spend half your budget. You can see if there's a grant that's willing to match a new emerging EDO that's looking for assistance to just kind of get the foot going.
Right.
And then at the end of the year, know what your costs are, and then allocate your budgets and request that for the following year to know that you can sustain yourselves for those types of
projects,
yeah.
very good.
So I have a question as well, Sergio. I don't know if this is specific or proper here for the EDC. Maybe it's better for the Plan Commission. But the property just north of the Shrine area, the town owns some property there where some of our utilities are. We have a pumping station there and some other utilities. That potentially could be very nice, usable property as well. Also, a nice place. We're about to do the project on 41 and 93rd, where we're going to need to put a couple hundred truckloads of clean fill somewhere. Maybe we can be forward-looking and also benefit ourselves and use that clean fill that we already have. We're going to pay to drive way off. Maybe we can put it in that location and improve that area, and at some point extend that waterfront district and maybe do something nicer for residents, like
Make more usable.
all sorts of usable, nice areas. Improve that area, and who knows what we can do. That's something much nicer.
Absolutely, increase your tax base.
Exactly, and increase our tax base.
Very good.
Question on the Riverfront District, ideas for that. How will any of that vision come out of the Tesca Associates, what they're doing? Like, is there overlap between us coming up with ideas and what the study is, the corridor study? Is that one and the same?
So I want to call it overlay, the Riverfront District. Parcels that are within the corridor study can be identified for types of land uses. And so based on the overlay, the Riverfront study, or the Riverfront District, based on those guidelines, what are you able to develop within the Riverfront District to benefit from those types of opportunities that exist, which is a liquor license? Well, it's not just bars, it's really the parameters that are set, the guidelines that are set. Restaurants that are sit-down serve more than 50% their food sales. Theaters, if the theater wants to open up with an alcohol license, they can't obtain one. Entertainment districts, retail entertainment districts, where someone may want to participate in an activity, whether it's family function type of activity that also serves alcohol. You have to set those parameters as part of your Riverfront District, and then attract those types of land uses will come knowing that there is an opportunity for whatever the cost is for those permits to obtain a liquor license and conduct those businesses.
Okay, so will some of that come out through?
As part of the land use, we'll
Yeah.
identify the 3 development areas, within the corridor study, those 3 sites that we talked about.
Yeah.
If they fall within the Riverfront District, or those parcels are within those guidelines, then yes, we can identify those types of uses there. It would be key to identify those types of uses. However, if they are outside of
Got
the
it.
Riverfront District,
Okay.
along those corridors, they would not qualify for the liquor license.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
really, the idea of the liquor license is you don't want bars and liquor stores. You want to have land uses that
Right.
incorporate that for attraction. So.
Right. So
Right,
then
we're not
what,
looking for a red light district.
no.
Yeah.
So then what we want to come to the next meeting with is ideas for like what we ideally would want for that riverfront district and see how that matches up with.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
So if we can work on that and then bring that to the table, and well, it'll be an ongoing process here, but we'll get that done.
Yeah, we can lay the corridor studies over the riverfront district and see which parcels actually fall within that. And then I'd target those areas for certain types of land uses.
Okay, that would be great.
Hotels with a bar,
Yeah,
those types of things.
Guys,
I like a bar and hotel.
Yeah, the riverfront district,
Saying.
parameters for the riverfront district would be that predominantly most of your revenue is derived from food. So it's kind of not like you can open up a regular bar, as part of the riverfront district. It's got to be, an accessory use too. So that's the whole concept behind the riverfront district.
Do we have those parameters that we could?
I just sent
see.
those over to the attorney.
Okay.
They're very similar to what Valparaiso adopted for their historic district.
Okay,
And that's what's required by state law, is that there has to be a food use,
Okay.
based on that. So 51% of their income should be derived from food
all right.
and not
Is there-
predominantly
Do you think
alcohol.
there's any value, or is it proper protocol to send those parameters to the EDC for they can look at them as well?
Yeah, as soon as we get, the information back, I think the more people that look at it, and any feedback we get on it, I think it's better that we do that.
Great.
So before I was hoping to get the Riverfront District license or authorized in the February meeting, so we'd be looking at March. But again, we don't have someone saying, I want a license right now. And even if they did, we could start the process based on that and just kind of get things moving that way.
Sounds good.
What was the cost of the license in the, is it $1,000 or?
That's the intent, is to keep it as a low-cost permit. So the permitting fee, because the town's issuing a permit to issue a license under the Riverfront District guidelines. Riverfront District doesn't mean you have a river. I had to explain this to my wife, so she knows more than she wants to know about riverfront districts. But this whole Riverfront District concept came.
You do need a body of water. So,
You got to have it has to be a specific body of water.
But it's very loosely
However big or
defined in the
small.
state
However
statute. Thank
little
goodness.
or dry it might be,
Yes.
it has to be a named waterway in order to qualify, and it has to be so many feet from that waterway. And then if there's a wetland in between it, then it can be extended out further. So there's so we've gone through all of that already. So we've got the designated area. It has to be within a redevelopment area. It is within the town's redevelopment area. So I prefer to call it a redevelopment area, not necessarily a riverfront district, because people are gonna be like, where's the riverfront? They're gonna be looking for the riverfront in Cherville also. They're still trying to find it in Valparaiso, but they're all going through the same thing that we went through, because for whatever the reason, the state in their infamous wisdom decided, gee, let's limit the number of liquor licenses towns can issue. I think it should be left to the local jurisdiction to determine that, but I don't write the state law.
So in these, there'd be a limit or no limit on how many could
Well,
theoretically?
the town will
be?
limit
The
it.
town
So initially, they'll issue, just pretty much like what the city of Valparaiso did, is they'll authorize up to 10. And if there's a huge, demand for that, then obviously the town can issue or authorize more. They don't issue the license, they issue a permit to get a license.
Okay.
So that's how
I
it works.
think you're gonna attach it to the properties too, right?
Yes, and they will be attached to the property specific, not to the owner. So the owner can't just say, well, I'm gonna go move over here.
Sell it, or.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
We
well,
don't want that.
And there is a clause in there for sales after so many years. It's not like you can turn around and just flip it. So there's protections in there for that.
So is there requirements then to submit their sales showing that, I think there's clauses in there?
Yes, there's requirements that they have to show their total receipts and financials in terms of
Think
how
we'll
much.
have that before the next meeting?
I hope so. I'm hoping I have it
Yes,
within the next week or so, but I'm waiting on an attorney that has been extremely busy,
Yeah.
dealing with a lot of different moving things.
It would
so-
help the committee to.
Yes. So as soon as I get that, I was going to push that out to the council and to the RDC and the EDC.
Very good.
Yeah, 'cause
So
the-
when is this study supposed to begin?
The corridors
Mm-hmm,
study. We had a kickoff 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
We did as part of the outline here in the proposal. We did our kickoff study tour 2 weeks ago, was it, Joe, maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
And then we created a stakeholder list and sent that out, so that's where we're at. I think ideally we wanted to start at the end of last year, but it looks like things have been pushed back or up, and so we're starting this year, beginning in January, going into February. February will be the stakeholder meetings. So we've got a positive response. Everyone's saying yes, they'd love to be part of this discussion.
Well, it looks like there's extensive community
Yes.
opportunity to be involved in
Absolutely.
the process, which
Absolutely.
I think is great.
Yep, I agree. And it helps when there's plenty of community involvement, because when we sell this to different vendors, they know that it's not one individual silo's opinion or ideas. It is collectively done from a community standpoint, and they all have had the opportunity to weigh in, and then they've come back and produce something that the community is really supportive of. So
When will those community workshops be? Do we know yet?
we do not know. If we look at the schedule that they've outlined, they should have been occurring, or we should have been towards the end of it, but they wanted to start those in October through January, but we're just now starting in January, so we're looking probably another four months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's different stakeholder groups that they're going to be navigating through, and it looks like based on the outline that they have there, we'll think of October from January, think of January to 4 months, April maybe, or whatever that case is, where we'll be ending up or wrapping up the community outreach.
Yeah, we had met with them, and they were like, well, we just kind of want to throw it all at, and we're like, no.
It was
We're
a
not doing it all at
fast-
once.
They came in
Yeah.
fast, and it didn't give us the warm and fuzzies initially, and so we asked them to slow down a little bit, because we want to have this this community component really
It's
fleshed
important
out,
to
so.
have the communities buy into this corridor, so that way, they actually did, and I don't even want to call it a corridor study, a design concept plan. And everyone knows about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
On
Big time.
231?
Yeah, no one knows about it,
Yeah,
right? So,
exactly.
right.
So this was done back in 2017, 18, whenever they did it. But it wasn't a corridor study. It was just kind of, here's a design in a concept of what the engineering on a roundabout might look like, or this intersection at Parrish and 109th. So this is taking that and going to the extreme level, because not only is this plan going to be in place and adopted by the council, it's going to be incorporated into our next phase of our comprehensive plan. So this is going to be something that's going to be in place for 20 years. So that's why it's critically important that we want to get the residents' input and the stakeholders' input as to
Absolutely.
how this should look. What is our logo is going to look like? What's our whole concept on this thing going to be like? So, and this is 20 years down the road. So as this area develops, here's the standards you have to build this road by, because this is adopted as part of the plan. So if you're going to deviate from that plan, now there's a process that you've got to go through. It's not just like, well, you can just deviate from it. No, you have to follow the rules. So a little bit more than what they did back in 2018, which I still am trying to find.
Quick question, Sergio. So with this comprehensive plan, would it be helpful to you or to Tesca Associates to have this marketed so our communications person there have the town know about this? Is this something that needs greater involvement from the community, that they need to be told this is going on,
Yeah.
or be
So-
at place X on a certain day at time?
Absolutely. We can engage our communications personnel, but they also, as part of their proposal, identified that they're going to create a link that will give updates as to what the status is and where they're at with it. So
So that will be part of the newsletter, the initial newsletter
yeah.
that's going to be.
So it
put
is
together.
part
Should
of
we
the
get that in
proposal,
there
yep.
for everybody knows, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And what's the day of the start of the study? Is there a commencement date? Start this work?
I would say we probably started 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Started,
It was really, that's the initial kickoff. And again, Mike, as a council member, thank you for, this was possible because of the budget that was approved and then encumbering of the funds that were allocated for contractual services. We were able to kind of pull this together, which then will develop as a sub-area plan to be adopted into the comprehensive plan. There's many different parts of the comprehensive plan that we want to focus on, and this is one component of it, so. So, thank you, Mike, and the council, so.
You're welcome, and really, thank you. This needs to be done. I appreciate the thoughtfulness, the follow-through, and looking forward to building a great town, right? That's what we're after.
Very good. Reports and correspondence.
Nothing from me?
Joseph?
No.
Kelly?
No?
Madam Vice President?
Nothing from
Nothing?
I guess the only comment I have is, I mean, we've talked about this facade thing going on
Right.
3 years now.
Right.
And we've really, for lack of marketing, lack of interest, lack of anything, we really haven't proceeded in any way, shape, or form. And I know we've allocated funds in the past for this, only to basically not use them. I think we need to somehow put a timetable on that whole program, and if it's not gonna happen, or if through our communications person now, if we can't get any sort of interest, then I would much rather focus something on like this Move to Indiana program, where
Right.
we use that same money for promoting the town, because we're in a unique situation. We can, the last 20 years of our growth, we can directly look across the border and say, that's where it's coming from, and that's where it's gonna continue to come from. And that program, I looked it up, I did a little bit more research. They hit it hard in Illinois, which is where a lot of these people are coming from. So, I mean, to promote our town that way, along with, pretty soon, I mean, Crown Point's in, Dyer's in, it's either you snooze or you lose.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, I would much rather, if the facade thing doesn't seem to, go, I would much rather
Yeah.
think
I
that.
believe Jason has had that on our webpage, and that this program is available.
Right.
We haven't had any partakers yet.
Right.
so.
So, and maybe it's, part of that's our fault for not marketing it enough, and maybe this communications director can help us in that venture. But I wouldn't be, I mean, I would think if we get nothing by mid-year, then I would much rather think about using some of them funds in a marketing, type of a program here to help us in that respect.
I think the other thing to think about with that, like for us to think about, regardless of the timetable, which I think makes sense, but what do we feel like is going to be the best ROI on those funds for what we want to happen from an economic development standpoint? Is it the marketing, or is it the facade, or something else? So that might be just something to think about.
Well, I think we're thinking big here, with the whole riverfront and the whole TIF district and some of the studies that we're doing, and to be able to have someone working with us marketing it at the same time, that we're not, they have to want to know where we're about, what we're about, and where we're at. And a lot of people in Illinois do, but not everybody does. But to have something out there where they can click on a link, because what people forget is the Times also is the Daily Southtown and all that, which is the Illinois version of the paper. That it's all part of Lee Enterprises. They own all that, so that same marketing can come through the Illinois side of. It's not just the Times newspaper. It's some of the other, southern suburb papers, local papers that are there that could help market that too. You follow me?
It just depends on what the cost is. for
Right.
us.
Well, but I mean, her proposal, she had different tiers.
Yeah.
And you could, we could start at a low level tier. But I'm just saying, if we have money that we're not using, and it's really basic, it's not burning a hole in our pocket, but I think we could put it to better use if we don't have something that's going to help someone locally here.
And it still seems like an opportune time to do that.
Correct.
With everything going on in Illinois and people looking to move. and-
Correct. I think if, like I said, if you snooze, you lose, because if Cherville jumps on board with this, Dyer's in already, Crown Point's in already, and, at some point in time, some of these other towns are gonna jump on the same type of thing. And if we're the the last one without a chair, then we're out.
Yep.
I think that makes sense.
So I think we can get that teed up for next month then.
If
At
we
least
can-
have a conversation about it.
Well, absolutely, but I think if management can look at those numbers and if we can start at that entry level, or
Right.
or if the committee wants to do something else, depending on what our funds are, we'll try to.
Just kind of
Try to
putting it
work
out,
it in.
just trying to put that out there and see,
Yeah.
see what kind of response.
Scott, you have anything else to say?
No.
No? It's all good? All right. Mike, Jason? No? Good. Well, thank you again tonight for coming to the first meeting this year, and I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
So move.
And second?
Second?